Anyway, my name is Laurie Huntsman. I am with the Utah Department of Transportation and Zero Fatalities Outreach Coordinator. So anytime you need to schedule anything with Zero, I'm the person that you need to call. I've got cards up here, but I know all of you get enough emails from me to probably find me. No?
Jeff probably gets
He
them.
takes care of that. And so I've been working with Zero full-time for the last 2 years. Prior to that, I was in traffic and safety at UDOT. And a big part of my job was to document and graph and chart all of the fatal crashes and their causes and all of the elements and all of that stuff. I found it a little bit depressing. And I was in about 3 months when I came across a crash report that happened to be my next door neighbor when I was a little girl over in Emory County. And I kind of had a total meltdown at my desk and went and talked to my boss and said, I just can't keep doing this. Got to find something positive to do with my job. So we contacted Zero Fatalities in Salt Lake. I live in Richfield. We contacted them in Salt Lake and I said, is there anything I can do to help with Zero Fatalities down in this area? And they got me busy so that I got to spend at least part of my day doing something more positive. So when the full-time position opened up, I applied and I was lucky enough to get it. And I love doing Zero all day long and not doing those crash reports. So that's kind of my backstory. But my real passion for Zero comes because in my lifetime, I've lost 23 friends and family members in automobile crashes. So lost a nephew, lost a couple of aunts, cousins, and we all know that getting that kind of news is devastating and none of us want to get it. So we want to prevent it in any way we can. And you guys are our best resource for that because that first year of driving is when the accidents happen. And so we need you guys and hopefully you need us too. So we're going to just go over the parent night presentation quickly because I know that there are a lot of new teachers, new people that we won't spend a lot of time here, just enough to let them know what's going on. But we want your feedback. We want your input. We want to know what you're thinking, what you'd like to see different, what you like, what you don't like, so that we can make changes because we really want to cater to your needs. That is our purpose. Motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death in teens. And that's why we're all working on this together. 9% of the drivers in Utah are teens. However, they're involved in 21% of the crashes. We know that's because of an experience. And the GDL laws have helped a lot since they were implemented back in 1999. Teen deaths have gone down 70%. It's a huge number. So we know they work. And so we need to make sure that our teens and their parents know these laws and that they enforce these laws. This is a story about a family that chose not to enforce a GDL law and the consequences.
It's a hard situation to have to know you're responsible for something like that. That us as parents made that choice for Kason that day that changed not only his life, but the life of another family drastically. You know, 2 little girls lost their mom.
Previously, we had not allowed him to drive without an adult. That day, it was a homecoming dance, and his group had kind of fallen apart. So we talked back and forth, and we decided to let him drive. All his friends were doing it.
99% of the time, your child's gonna arrive home safely. But I've been the 1%, we've been the 1% where that doesn't happen, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
Never let your kid drive until they're 100% ready, until they have their license. We could have lost everything, and it's not worth the chance.
Okay, how many of you have seen that before? Just had that one out for all. So just a reminder of the importance of GDL laws. We play that in our presentation now at parent nights. A couple of years ago, we did a couple of surveys. We did one survey with the driver ed teachers, and we did another survey with parents of teens who had just got their license. And what we found out from that survey is that 80% of the teens in Utah were not getting their 40 hours of driving, and their parents were just signing them off without it. You're probably not surprised as teachers. You've had a few of those kids with no hours, get in your cars and you know immediately, right? And so we were trying to come up with ways that we could help them. When we asked the parents why they hadn't done the hours, it was usually two reasons. I'm scared to death, or I have no idea how to teach this. So I forget that they have all these nifty little things that jump in and out. So we want to make sure that parents realize that they are the key. They are the ones that are teaching driving skills. You guys are just the polishers, right? So we want parents to know that. So we really need to work to get their involvement, that they know the GDL laws and that they set the example. When I do parent nights, I always ask the parents, how many of you want your teen to drive just like you do? And I always get one or two hands, but that's it. So most of them realize that they are not the best examples and that they do not want their teens to drive like them. So we have partnered with CHOP, or the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. They are the experts in the US for teen driving, and they make these awesome videos that we have available on our website. They, the idea is for the teen and parent to sit down, watch the video. It gives them goals. It gives them common errors for that driving skill. It has a checklist that you can check off as your kid passes off certain skills. And then once you feel like they've completed it, you sign it off and then you watch the next video. Like I said, they're only 3 or 4 minutes and they go through several, 6 or 7, I don't remember, 6 or 7 little videos to help the parent teach their teen to drive. So if you can point the parents in that direction, that should help take away the I don't know how. Maybe not so much that I'm scared to death, but maybe a little both. Another way that you can get those besides going to our website is if you text ready to drive to this phone number, then they will be sent a text every 2 weeks. And the text is basically those videos saying, okay, let's work on this one now. And then 2 weeks later, okay, it's time to move on to this one. And the thing about this is after they get their license, they can continue to get text messages, just reinforcing the kind of things that they maybe should still be watching for with their teen as they're a new driver. And after we cover the GDL laws, we cover the 5 behaviors of safety. These used to be the don'ts, the 5 don'ts, but we've changed them to the 5 do's. And we cover each of these individually in detail. Now, this is a new video we've just added to our distracted arsenal. It's a pretty good one. We'll go ahead and watch this one.
I play that moment in my head multiple times a day. There wasn't anything I could do. I was out of control. From the time that I looked down at my phone to the time that I looked up, 8 seconds had passed. I never realized how far you travel in 8 seconds.
We'll never get to see our dad again. And it's all because of the 8 seconds that Sam decided to look at his phone.
I thought it would be fine. I thought nothing will happen. During those 8 seconds, the time went by so fast. I traveled a lot farther than I ever thought I would have. I looked up just before I hit the vehicle, and my truck went right on top of his car that he had and pushed him all the way through the intersection. And I got out of the truck as fast as I could, and I ran back to the car. And it sank in fully that it was too late. This can happen to anybody. All it takes is one poor decision.
Every time I hop in my car, I see people driving distracted. And I mean, I just want to stop the person and shake them and tell them, do you have any idea what you're doing right now did to my family? Do you have any idea what that did to my family and what you could do to someone else's?
We tried in our parent nights to kind of do a mixture of these stories that are a little hard to watch with more positive reinforcement. We want them to realize the magnitude of the decision they're making behind the wheel, that those little choices can be devastating, but we also want to empower them to know safe driving behaviors so that they feel confident behind the wheel. So if you have any suggestions on that, if you think we're leaning too far one way or the other, let us know. We will make adjustments. At our parent nights, we hand out these workbooks. You've all got one in front of you. If you turn to the center section, there's a notes page. After every behavior, we emphasize, please write down what stood out to you in this section, and then we give them tips. And then we encourage them to please continue this at home. We want you to continue the conversation after the seminar is over, because what we really want to have happening is this connection between the parent and the teen so that they understand each other's perspective, each other's expectations. We want open communication so that they can make house rules. The back page is a parent-teen agreement that you can do. It's a two-sided thing there. It's also perforated if you wanted, each parent and the teen get it. So if you wanted to tear it out and have them bring one back as proof that they were at the parent night, some teachers do that. So we give them some tips along with each area of focus, and we have them write those in the book and then other things that stood out to them so that they have conversation starters when they get home. And then we reinforce the GDL law that goes with each behavior. These are some comments we've gotten from parents. They were totally unsolicited, and 95% of the comments we get back are positive. Parents aren't always excited to come to a parent night, but 95% of them, I would say, are glad they did. In fact, one of the comments I get most often when parents leave is everybody should be required to hear this every few years. We all need to be reminded constantly. So those are just some fun things that some parents have shared with us. Now, our number one choice in parent nights is live. We all know that the learning environment at a live seminar is going to be so much better than online. We created the online for COVID, and we've kept it because of the number of schools that have gone online only. And really, the online only schools are the schools, really only the schools we want to use this, unless somebody can't make it to your live presentation and they have a really good excuse, they can't go anywhere else, then send your extra students here. That's really our preference. I mean, but we'll do whatever you want. We're not going to turn anybody away from doing something. But that's kind of how we feel about it. To sign up for an online parent night, you go to our homepage, you click on Parent Night Truck Smart, and then it will take you to that page. And on that page, if you scroll down, it has a list of all of our live events. So if you live in an area where there are a lot of schools, you can always send them to another school if they can't make it to yours, which is really nice. And they can take a picture with the presenter afterwards to show you that they attended or something like that. Have the driver's ed teacher from that school sign a note, whatever. And then we have the virtual ones listed below that. We try to hide them a little. We don't want the teens to think that that's the first option. It's really easy to download the book. You can fill it out on your computer. You don't have to print it.
That screen recording is really glitchy too for some reason we put on this TV. It's
Yeah.
a lot smoother on the actual website.
It is.
The screen recording is really weird. I don't know why when we transferred
It was really smooth when we did it on Keynote, but then we had to switch to PowerPoint last night. And
So just know it's smoother than it looks on the screen up there.
But she's on theirs too. It's not just us. So I don't know if all of you are aware, we do have a Spanish presenter. If you have a lot of Spanish students in your area, you are welcome to request him also, and just have a small room for those students to go to.
So usually those do them at the same time.
Yeah, we do them, usually do them at the same
The
time.
Spanish
English
workbooks.
in the auditorium, Spanish in the classroom on the side. A lot of schools are combining schools to make it easier. We'll have like 2 schools. One of them will do it this month, the other one will do it next month, and then they just switch back and forth. So they're doing half as many at their school. That teacher's only in charge of half as many. If that makes it easier for you to go live, you can think about that. Some of them do it by district, and every school in the district holds one, and they just give everybody the schedule so that they can get to the other schools if that works for them. We are tossing around the idea of maybe renting out some big venues like the Davis Conference Center or the Mountain America Conference Center, or, you know, something down here. And then letting all the schools come, maybe doing 2 or 3 in the area for all the schools. If you think that's a good option. I mean, we're throwing out any ideas, and we're taking any ideas if you think that there's a better way to do it that would make it easier for you to go live. So do any of you have any thoughts on those ideas? You like doing your own?
Is it live attendance going down? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, before COVID, we were at about 80% of the schools. Post-COVID, we're up just under 50%. So we're just trying to get everybody back with us again. It has been put into code now that they are required. It's no longer an option, but you don't have to use us. You can do your own. Know that you can do your own, but we would love to come do your parent nights for you, so you don't have that.
And of course, we're free.
Yeah,
We're
we
UDOT
are
DZ
free.
program.
Doesn't get any better. than this.
It doesn't get any better than that, right? And another thing that we would like is to see that the students get it, have the parent night as early on in the process as possible, because you want the parents to know about those videos, right? You want the parents to have access to that kind of help. So if like try to do it the first week of your class instead of the last week.
Well, my thoughts on that, I've kind of tossed it around for a couple years now, but I really think the ideal time for this presentation is the 9th grade. Because it's, a lot of the kids get their permit when they're 15. We don't even know who they are yet.
Right.
And that's when the parents need the most help. That's why they're not going out and driving, because they're waiting for driver's ed.
You're exactly right. That's true.
You are exactly right. And I'm going to show you something we're working on right now.
But I
Kind
don't
of
know if the accountability piece
Covers
is
that.
obviously easier in a driver's ed, because we could make it a part of the class,
Right.
make it a part of the
Make it
grade.
required.
You should talk about
But-
some, talk about
Yeah.
some. weekends too.
We've got a school district that they require before they can sign up for driver's ed that they've taken that class.
The
I
parent
think
night.
that
Parent
is
night.
really good.
And so when they go to sign up, but they're not during the days, it doesn't mess with their schedules. They're a before school, after school district. And so when they sign up for driver's ed at the office, they have to show their learner's permit and their driver's ed certificate that they've been to the driver's
Parent night.
parent night certificate, yeah, to get into the class. So that's one option. That's one way to do it. I don't know if that works for everybody, but
Yeah, if there are ideas for getting it earlier on in your school or district, we'd love to help with that. 'Cause we totally agree with you that if there's any way that we could get some of this in front of them sooner, because I mean, you can all relate to this, you have a student hop in your car and you can tell they haven't driven a minute with their parents. And it's like, wouldn't you love to have all of them to already have gotten some experience and have a little bit, with that? So Laura's gonna talk about another thing in a minute here, but that's one reason, if you have any ideas or resources to get that sooner, we're all for it.
yeah, definitely.
Or at least not until the end of the class. I mean, we both webinar and in person, we'll have some both teachers scheduled at the end of the class, or even if some students take the webinar like the last day of their class. And, it's not to say that it's not doing any good, but we're really not hitting where it could do the best, right? So the earlier the better is kind of, I think we all see.
I
that.
get emails from the webinar students all the time. They're like, I'm supposed to take my driver's test tomorrow. So if you could hurry and email my teacher and let him know I was here tonight, I'd really appreciate that. And honestly, I don't always look at my emails at night, so I don't usually see it till the next day anyways.
Well, and you don't know if your parents are with them.
Well, we have,
Do
we
you
kind of
see them?
changed
We'll
that.
talk about some webinar.
The webinar, we did not see them, but we've changed that, in March, we changed it, so we do see them now.
We'll talk about that in a second, yeah.
If they attend another school, just ask them, I don't know, you decide how you want to have proof that they went to another school. A lot of times it's a picture with our presenter.
What if you have ideas? We'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Like, we've thrown around ideas of having like a slide at the end of the presentation that they could, take a selfie with that says the date and the school it's at, or a lot of teachers do, like she said, just grab a picture with the presenter or something. But if you have ideas where you're like, man, if you do this, this would, make my life easier. We're always open.
One
to making
district
it
I go
easier.
to, they have them a sheet that says I attended a parent night, and then they have either one of us sign it or the teacher that night sign it. So
Well, and even like it's kind of corny, but you have your 0 fatalities poster. One of those could be parent night.
Right, like I was here.
I was
You know, like
here
I
and they're
can't do
doing a
selfie.
selfie with it or a picture with
Right.
their parents.
Yeah, selfie with their parent in the picture, so. Just know that we're all about making it easier for you guys. So if there's ever something where you're like, hey, you know, this really is kind of bogging things down, and we figure something out, we'd love that feedback. Whether you have it today or even a later time.
So the district that does the certificate, how do they get the certificate? Isn't that just with the online?
Yeah,
portion?
just online with certificates. I've had a few kids email me and say, I attended a live event at Hunter High School back on April 4th. Can you give me a certificate? I haven't got one yet. And I'm like, can't really do that. I have no idea you were really there.
And we don't
So the
do
certificate is online only. Sorry if I.
And when you guys used to come to Emory and do that, there was something they did with their cell phone that kept record of. that.
Boncom did an app.
Oh,
They tried an
Qualcomm
app.
did an app, and it worked at some schools and it didn't at others.
So we stopped, there were a lot of complications with the app, so we don't do that anymore. So it's kind of
But,
up to the teacher.
Like Jesse, what's his last name? Burrell, over at Gunnison, he just has the UPC codes down the hall and they just scan
QR
those.
codes, QR codes.
QR codes, sorry. QR codes down the hall and they scan it as they're going into the auditorium. They type in their name to say that they were there and that's how he keeps roll. A lot of them just have a paper roll. They sign in as they come through the door. Whatever works for you.
Because now that it's changed from just a very awesome option to train students, now it's a law.
Code, yes.
Code, yeah.
So there has to be something more than just, it seemed like
Well,
with the
it's kind of
railroad
up to the
safety,
teacher,
it's
though.
required. And they generate a completion slip when they've gone through.
But it's the same thing, they only generate a completion slip for the online for that one.
Yeah,
And it's the same like with our truck smart that we'll talk about, if they do the online version of that also comes through. So online, we can provide something. The in-person, it's still just kind of always been, because every teacher just has a different preference, they operate
Yeah.
differently, they do things differently. So I mean, like I said, if we can provide something that maybe would many teachers
Yeah,
would
we
use.
thought about buying a bunch
that.
of mini printers and printing out certificates, but at some schools where we have 200 or 300 kids, that's not gonna work. So,
well, just the digital version of it would be good.
yeah.
I mean,
And even if we can get them all to take a picture with the screen and then digitally send you that picture of that or something
maybe we could even do a QR code that
that would prove
generate.
maybe the last.
I don't know,
Maybe
it's
the
hard
last,
to look into
maybe
it.
the last
Still-
slide of the presentation could have a QR code that they have to take a picture of that would generate a certificate. We could look into making that
That'd be
happen.
really good.
Okay,
That would be awesome.
So you're saying you would prefer things like that over them like signing in or something, or whether it's a QR code that they sign into and get the list like that, Jesse Burrell? Okay.
If we had I like emails, but I think email with that's the online students again.
right.
It tells them how many minutes they were there and their parent attended. I like the certificate idea.
For live classes too.
Yeah, that QR code.
Yeah,
That would be-
I don't either.
I don't know,
We'll
we
look
can
into
look into it.
We'll look into it. We're game. Okay, so our new virtual night, the screen has to be on and we have to be able to see both the parent and the teen. If there's only one person there, we will send them a little message and say, you've got 3 minutes to add your parent, or we will dismiss you. And I've
And
had
they
some-
can't see each other, they only
Yeah.
see the presenter, but we, as the moderating side, we see all of them.
We see all of them. And we've seen some interesting things.
Yeah.
Okay? So if they're not both there, we'll dismiss them. They have to be on the screen for at least 50 minutes or we'll dismiss them. They will not get credit if they're there for less than 50 minutes.
So if they try to hop on and let them etc. start, we'll send them a message to not even let them in because they're not gonna get credit for it.
Or if
only
they
get
sign
it-
out before it's over, they won't get a certificate. Okay? We are capping it at 150 attendees because the moderator has got to be watching all of them. And so it's a little hard to do more than that. And as proof that they were there, please use the certificate they get. Okay, a lot of teachers have been asking for the presenter's name. And then we get a lot of emails saying, what was the presenter's name? I didn't catch it, which is on the screen at least 5 times during the presentation. So I want to email them back and say, then you didn't pay attention, do it again, but I'm nicer than that. So anyway, so please use that. A lot of teachers, we've noticed, I don't know if a lot, but there are some teachers out there that are accepting a screenshot of their registration as proof. And that doesn't prove they were there, because I had, at the last virtual night, I had 100, and we usually let more than 200, 150 sign up because we don't get that many on screen. But there were 135 that actually attended and 152 that did not. That signed up and did not attend. So please encourage them to attend if they sign up, because it's making it so that other kids that really want to be there can't, because we're capped out. And this is a question that we have for you. If we can obviously see that the parent and or student are obviously not engaged at all, Natalie, give your examples.
Like, I mean, honestly, a lot of the parents and teens on there are paying attention, right? They're sitting at the kitchen table, they're sitting on the couch, they're laying in bed, whatever. But like even just this last webinar, first off, I had a teenager that was driving with the webinar on. Now, if they're driving, those people we will remove and say, you need to find a different time to do this, right? But I mean, we've had people on the beach, we've had people, I had a mom and her daughter watching, it was some sort of school game. I don't know if it was a volleyball game or basketball game, but they were watching something, the camera, you can see the camera, and they're just sitting on the bleachers watching. And it's like, we've had this discussion, and we'd love your thoughts if you have, what you think of us. It's like, at what point do we insert ourselves and say, okay, you are blatantly not paying attention, find another night? It's like, we're not really looking that closely. The screen's going, oh, they don't, it's not that, but it's like in a situation like that where they are clearly doing something else. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts? Should we
in line at Disneyland?
Yeah, in the line for a ride. I mean, should we take the spot to insert ourselves and okay, you're maybe find another time? Thoughts?
Please do. Please do. We wouldn't tolerate that in our classrooms for 1 second. I would say, you guys see that, just kick them out.
And like I said, most of them are, most of the people are sitting there reacting and engaging, but you have those few that it's just a check mark box, and.
Or mom's in the background, you can see her, but she's making dinner, she's not watching at all. You're just like, oh, can we really count this? Okay, you guys have expressed what everybody else has expressed, that we just need to insert.
I don't know, it's kind of a fine line, right? It's like you're not trying to really, watch them and get into what they're doing, but some of them are just clearly not paying attention.
Writing a list of what does engaged look like. This is what we're looking for. This is what engaged means.
Well, I would just tell them right up front, if we can tell you're involved in another activity, you'll be.
That's good.
We
Just
need
leave
to
it
add
that.
that to what Mike
You don't have to
said.
define the activity, just keep it general.
Well, in driving, I know we've talked about even just saying, if either of you are driving, out. Like,
Yeah.
there's
We
no
had
reason.
some where someone else was driving and mom and the kid are in the back seat.
And you can
they
tell
seem
they're
to be
paying attention, that's fine.
But when one of the two is driving, you're like, no. So we had a mom and daughter sitting on a beach watching it, but they were very engaged. So even though they were in their bathing suits, it was a little odd. We gave them credit. So in order to sign up for the parent night, you just you choose one of those dates that are there, you click, it brings up this screen. They have to put in their name. Now, because this is a Zoom program, we don't get to choose what these 4 categories are. They're automatic. So we make clear instructions up here that we want the teen's name put here. So that will be the name on the certificate. And we want the parent's email address, because if the teen uses their school email address, they are often blocked and they won't get their registration email, or they won't get their certificate because they get blocked. So just try to explain that to them. Let them know that we want the teen's name and the parent's email address. I get lots of emails saying, the certificate came with my name on it. It should have my kid's name on it. And I'm thinking, well, how do you think I know your kid's name? Don't have any idea who your child is. How am I supposed to know that? So
Could you put that right there?
Well,
so I wonder if
first date, parents.
Well, like she said, we can't change the name of the field.
You
Zoom,
can- okay,
Zoom,
so
it
you
just
can-
has name, like first name, last name.
Yeah.
But we do have it in the
Zoom will not let us change this part.
But maybe move that
Instructions
right
closer?
above it.
I think
Yeah.
that from here down is automatically
it-
by Zoom.
We run into
So-
the same thing with any online registration.
Also on the
Don't
regular
forget
Zero
to put your
website,
permit
I
here.
mean,
Oh, I forgot to put my permit.
So, I mean, I can issue a new permit with a new certificate with the parent's name, or you can say, okay, you got a certificate, you obviously watched, even though your dad's name's on here, not yours. I
We're
mean,
starting to charge if they don't have an additional certificate, you know?
That's right.
That's already a nice side.
we're only allowed
How do you think we're paying for dinner tonight?
1,000 a month, I think, or something like that. Anyway, which has been plenty so far. But just a little thing that we need to remember. This is what the registration email looks like. Again, do not accept this as proof that they attended. Accept this as proof that they attended. Okay. And this is just a screenshot of what it's like. And see, Natalie, when she moderates, she's got like 8 to 10 of these that she's got to keep scrolling through.
And honestly, it takes the first 20, even 30 minutes sometimes to just get everybody on screen, to give them a couple minutes to get their parent on there if they're not to get it, you know what I mean?
To get their cameras turned on, please.
And
turn
that's
on
why
your
we
camera.
can't, that's why we can't have 500 people on there.
Oh, I guess you can watch them looking. Yeah. And there's another one.
This is why I'm at.
So. And it just flashes between the screens over and over again. I tried to watch one
So
night.
this was towards the end of the meeting when they're really, you know, just kind of waiting for it to
So you can
close
see
out.
them in bed.
So.
It's fun. Virtual is just fun. What can I say?
Why we like in person better, you know, if there's a school able to do in person, we're just, I mean, as you guys know as teachers, in person is just, it's a better environment, right? We understand that's not always gonna work, but those schools that can, we're really, it's just so much
Right.
more impactful.
And
you
we
know?
do even have some schools that are 100% online for the course, except they have a day where we come and do Truck Smart and Parent Night. They're required to come one day out of the whole class, and we can do that. Okay, we do still have the Teen Memoriam assignment, and we have Teen Memoriams here if you don't have a set for your classroom, or you can find all of them online. You guys are aware of how that works. If they do the assignment, then it sends an email to you as a teacher.
How many of you currently, anybody
Any
use
of you
the
do
team memoriam in here in person at least? Chad, I think, don't you use this?
I use it all the time, but I do it through Canvas.
Oh, right on.
Just so I get it directly.
Right. So, yeah. And it's, if you're not familiar with what this is it's stories of teens who have lost their lives on Utah roads. And the teen is to read the story and then ask some questions like, what could they have done differently? What caused the crash? What rules could you make so that this wouldn't happen to you? Stuff like that. Just makes them digest the story a little bit better, internalize it a little more. Okay, right now we're working on a winter driving course with the Department of Public Safety. It's going to be one of those online classes like the Teen Memoriam where they can just go in and watch a video about winter driving. And then when they take the test at the end, the score will be sent to you. We have our seatbelt video that we put together for our middle school program that we're starting, but none of your kids took in middle school. So if you want a really good seatbelt video, that's on our pre-driver.
And it's similar, both this seatbelt and the speed one she was just gonna get to, it's just like the Teen Memoriam too, where they watch something simple or read like the Teen Memoriam, they fill in some boxes and it actually emails you their assignment. So, yeah, some couple great things there.
Yeah, and the new speeding video is going to be coming out probably in May. We're hoping it'll be done by then. It's really close. But it's a story of a young man who actually raced cars his whole life. So from the time he was 3 years old, he was on the racetrack and decided to take that speed to the street shortly after he got his license, and his life ended because of that. So it really talks about how driving fast on our roads is different than driving fast on a track. It's a good one, going to be a good one. And then right now we are piloting a pre-driver presentation in the middle school health classes. We're hoping 8th grade health or 9th grade health, whatever it is. Or I guess you can have health classes in any of those grades. I'm not sure how that works, but they are required a traffic safety portion. And so we would go into the schools and do a presentation where we would show the seatbelt video, the speeding video. We're going to do some activities with them that represent multitasking versus switch tasking. We're going to tell them all of the documentation they need when they go get their driver's license. We're going to talk to them about the CHOP videos. We're going to give them all this flyer. They should get this when they get their driver's license. When they go get their learner's permit, DLD is supposed to be handing these out to them. And it has the CHOP video information. So that's one way we're trying to get them that information right from the get-go. The other way is going to be with this middle school class.
If any of you have any connections that way, I mean, even just the flyer, we'd love to get, we're trying to get those even just to like freshman orientations and things like that, you know, hit them early, but same with the middle school. If you have any connections that way, like we're saying, we would just love them to get into your class with a little more prep behind them instead of just, oh, a car, steering wheel, right?
Well, a lot of the counselors do 9th grade pre-registration and
What time of year is that at the schools in here? Do you guys know what time like the freshman 9th grade orientation is?
Are they in the spring? Are
It's
they in
usually
the fall?
spring, it sounds like.
Spring.
What school are you at?
Union.
Okay,
yeah, they're usually in April.
that's good to know. I think a lot of the stuff they were in the fall, so that's.
Yeah, so if you want to take a handful of those back with you and take them to your.
And we can deliver, if you have some sort of connection, or if you even would like to give them out in any way that you're involved, we can get you as many as your school needs, whether through mail or delivery ourselves, so, yeah.
Okay. And then we're bringing back our peer-to-peer program. It's been gone for a few years now. That's a program where the teens actually make up what they want to do to support traffic safety within their school. It can be a competition between schools or between classes, or, you know, if you wear your seatbelt, you get a treat when you pull in the parking lot, or whatever they want to do. We let the teens come up with their own ideas of what they think is going to reach their peers. So we're bringing that back. And if you have a school where you think that would be beneficial, we're going to just kind of pilot maybe a dozen schools this year and then increase that as time goes on. So if you'd like to be involved in that, let us know.
It's usually the student government classes who take a lead on that. So, but if you have a connection to that, or like I said, your school's involved, we love that.
And then we also are going to have this drive time tracker that they can put on their phones. It is not an app, but they can enter the number of hours they drove, where they went, and then it will help them keep track of their hours on something they'll have with them every time they get in the car.
And they can actually, it can actually save their log to a PDF as well. So if this ever does in the future get made where they are required to submit, which I think we would all love that,
Yes.
this can, I mean, this will basically already be in place to help them with that.
So this is already up and running?
This is
Yeah.
about to, this will be up and live within the next couple of weeks. We're in the last stages of developing it right now. And so, yeah, they can do it on either their desktop or their phone. Like she said, it's not an app. The only glitch because it's not an app is if they do desktop or phone, it won't save them together. They can access it from either, if that makes sense. So like I said, it'll save as a PDF, which is nice hopefully if we ever do get to that way where they have to submit, but yeah, super simple. And it's got the CHOP videos and everything right part of the link there as well. So yeah.
That's smart.
You're going to turn
All
over to
right.
Natalie for Truck Smart.
We just got a few kind of updates we'll talk about with Truck
How much
Smart.
time do we have?
Oh, we're fine. I don't need that much
I'm
time
like, I
for Truck
have my
Smart.
watch died.
I think y'all are pretty familiar with Truck Smart though. Whether you've had us cover, you at least know what we are, right? We bring a semi to the school, or we'll get to our other options in a second, but we actually have more trucks on our roads in Utah than any other state. And so because of that, we're really trying to educate our newest drivers how to drive around these big rigs to prevent some of those crashes and fatalities. So as you all know, if we are able to, which most of the time we are, we partner with the Trucking Association. They provide a truck driver and a big rig to come to the school with us. We park cars in the blind spots, student hop in, you know, they ski what the driver can and can't see. And we talk about all sorts of things with them. This past, maybe in the past years, now we got the VR headsets, they're relatively new.
About a year and a half.
Year and a half or so. This is our backup option. So when we've got some in here as well, if any of you would like to see this after, but in the instance where either we can't get a truck or the school isn't able to have a truck for whatever reason, we actually have a classroom set of these VR headsets. So it's basically a 5-minute, 360-degree experience of what they see at the truck. It shouldn't make them sick. It's not moving, but you know, they're able to see a truck driver's perspective with cars and things, and a driver's, a regular passenger car driver and things. So we'll usually bring a half or a third of the classroom set, just kind of rotate through. But this is a really great backup option. So there's many things that we can do to work with your school. Just like the Parent Night presentation was updated this last summer, the Truck Smart presentation was actually updated in the last month or so. So it's got all new jazzy graphics and videos and things. And I'm sure some of you are familiar with the 2 main rules that we used to share with Truck Smart. It had 2 rules and then a lot of tips and info. Well, we've actually condensed it and simplified it. So there are 4 rules with trucks. But I think a lot of you are familiar with this one. This one we've had for a couple of years now. Can't see me, I can't see you for blind spots. This one right here is one of our new ones. Trucks turning, stay back to stay safe. The 3rd one with passing, trucks need space no matter the pace, and looking at their stopping distance, how we've got to make sure we're leaving that room right there. I think that's a great visual. And then the 4th one again, that's been around the longest, I'm sure y'all are familiar with, 2 lights in the mirror, steer clear. So it's really nice because now they just have 4 tips that they've got to remember, and we actually have a classroom set of the wall boards. So if you need some for your classroom, grab some before you leave, because there's one for each of these 4 rules up here. But like I said, super, super simple and snazzy. Before we jump into the modules and what they are, I'm going to actually show you one of our online modules, because what's in this module is actually partly what's in our presentation as well. So let's just watch a simple little.
Last time we talked about the difference between trucks and passenger cars on the road. Now we'll get into how you should drive when you're around big rigs. Trucks don't have rear view mirrors on their windshields. They rely fully on their side mirrors. In bad weather, those mirrors could be blurry, foggy, or just plain useless. See the car? How about now? In bad conditions, if you're not using your headlights, your car can be invisible to truck drivers. Have you ever heard of no zones? They're the 4 large blind spots all around a semi-tractor and trailer where truck drivers have limited or no visibility. This driver can't see any vehicles in his mirrors. But this is what could potentially be around his truck and trailer. As a driver, you need to know when you're in one of these 4 blind spots. The right side no zone is the largest of these blind spots and extends up to 3 lanes from the truck. This is why you should always avoid passing trucks on their right side. Drivers that are in these 4 no zones contribute to most of our state's truck-related crashes. Stay out of a truck's blind spots whenever possible. So, how can you tell if you're in a no zone when you're driving? Follow this rule. If you can't see the truck driver's face in their side mirrors, they can't see you. To drive safely around semi-trucks, you need to see the driver's face and be able to make eye contact with them. Next.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and skip that. It goes on another minute or 2. But because of this, we have a lot of these just really cool. Those graphics that you just saw right there, those videos, the drone shot, all those things, those are in our new in-person presentation as well. So obviously, we're all about in-person. If we're able to come, we'd love to. Just as we've been discussing, many schools have gone online and are not able to do that, not able to have a truck come. So we actually have an online version now, if you're familiar with that. It's just on our website. If you go to trucksmart.utah.gov, there is a tab for how TruckSmart is you, and there's a paper quiz on here too that many teachers also use as an assignment, or they'll use it as we actually prefer that teachers use it as a take-home assignment. Again, get that conversation further. So many teachers will make them do it with their folks and say it's an assignment or extra credit. Anyways, it's just on our website right there next to the paper one. And really quickly, just running through this, the student will have to set up a profile just so that it can save their score, because they're going to get a certificate with this too. So you'll click on that View TruckSmart course, click login to enroll, and then all they just have to do is register their email and a password. Again, we recommend not using the school email, and this is again glitchy just like the ones earlier, but bear with that there. But we recommend not using the school email just because sometimes school emails block weird things. So if they can use a personal email, they don't need to remember the password that much, assuming they're just going to get the assignment done. The assignment's not that long. The modules together, there are 5 of them, and each video is about, did I just restart? Oh, there we go. Take the course. And each video is about anywhere from a minute to maybe 3 minutes long. There's a question in between and then a quiz at the end. And it actually forces them so they can't just skip around. They have to go through each video and question at a time there. So for those that are doing it online, this is a really great option, just an assignment for you to put on campus and say, hey, do this. Just like everything else, they're going to get a certificate at the end that says they completed it. So a really, really good backup assignment for online classes. I've got Laurie's contact info up here, her email at least elementsman@utah.gov. If you need any questions answered, or if you have any comments or feedback as we move forward, help scheduling, we would love to do that. Laurie's great at responding to, so there are cards up here. We're, I think, a minute over, so we'll let y'all go. But if you do have any feedback or questions, please stick around. Same with you online. If you have anything, interrupt. But thank you for coming, guys. We super appreciate all your support with the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.